So in this video, I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for managing and understanding the behaviour of anger. My first tip is to understand what your triggers are that cause you to behave in an angry manner. So maybe something your partner said to you at home, or maybe something your boss has asked you to do at work. Do you become angry when you spend time by yourself? Or is it exacerbated when you're hungry or tired? It's really important to figure out what your triggers are around your anger response. And once you've understood what your triggers are, you can then go on to fully understand how to manage your anger. So think about the time you last became angry. What were you doing? What was the situation? What were you saying? What was you thinking? What was the other person doing or saying to you that triggered your anger? So my next tip is just to stop and breathe. When you feel yourself becoming angry, just take a moment to stop and feel the air going through your nose, filling up with your lungs. And what I want you to do is just take 2 or 3 conscious deep breaths. What this will enable you to do is to take a bit of space between the trigger and your response. And that's really important, because once you've taken that stop, you can then think about how you want to respond, as opposed to just going straight in there with your anger. Okay, so now you've given yourself a bit of breathing space and you have time to think about how you want to respond. What I want you to do now is to think about whether your anger is actually going to solve the problem. Is it an appropriate response to getting your needs met in that situation? So I want you to think about, if you was to respond or behave in an angry manner, would this resolve what was happening in the situation? Would you get your needs met at that time? And if not, then it's probably not anger. So now you've figured out that it is an anger that you're feeling, and anger is not the appropriate response. Take some time to think about what it is you actually want from the situation. Maybe you're responding in an angry way because you have a sense of unfairness, or the other person isn't listening to what you're saying. And a more appropriate response would be to say, actually, I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying. So now take a bit of a moment to think about what you actually want to get out of the situation. What would solve the problem here? Okay, so for my final tip, now you know it's not anger, and now you know what you want to get out of the situation to resolve the problem, is to use clear communication with the other person. So if someone's not listening to you, it's to take a moment and tell them explicitly that you don't feel like they're hearing you. It's also really important that when you say that, is to give them a clear indication of what you need from that situation. So I'll give you an example. If you're in work and your manager's turned around for the 5th time this week and given you a report to do, when everyone else has only ever done one that week, you initially might have responded in a really angry manner and got frustrated and shouted or acted in another angry way. Or actually, given the time to stop and breathe, to think about what it is that's going on, you can then respond in a different manner. Maybe you turn around and highlight to your manager, actually, this is the 5th report you've given me this week, and no one else has had, or everyone else has had just one to do. Maybe your manager's not understood that and he's lost track of what's been going on a little bit. So now highlighting that in a clear, concise manner to your manager is more likely, or she's more likely to turn back and take a step back and say, yeah, you know what, you're absolutely right. I've not dished out the work in a fair way, and I'll give that work to someone else. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you found it really helpful. There's loads of things I can talk about around anger and managing anger and understanding anger. So if you'd like to know more, or you want to get in contact with me, I can be found at Trenpa Therapy.